Welcome back. Let's have some fun. In a previous video, we worked on basic VLANs, and we only had a basic network where we had one switch and two PCs attached to that switch. Now, in this diagram, you could see that we have another switch installed, switch 2, and now PC 2 is configured to be on that switch instead of on switch 1. So let's get to the command line and let's start configuring this. And once again, there's really nothing configured on switch 2 now. It is just your basic configuration. So let's start configuring this switch. And if we recall, PC2 is on, let's see, show IP interface brief. This is 1.1.10.22. So let's go in here, and this should be VLAN 1. It should be on VLAN 10. And if we take a look at GI00, there's nothing on it. So we have to configure this for VLAN 10. So interface G00, switch port mode access, switch port access, and VLAN 10. No, shut it. And it should be up anyway. PC1 should be 1.1.10.11. Can we ping across? We'll try a few times. And let's see. And it doesn't seem to be pinging. All right, give it a few times because sometimes the MAC entries have to resolve themselves there when you ping. Okay, so that's not going to work. And why is that? Well, remember, now we have GI33 connectivity between switch 1 and switch 2. So that means when PC2 pings PC1, it has to traverse this. In order to get that to work, we have to configure GI33. And the way we do this is called a trunk port. So let's go into G33, and we'll just do a few things here, and we'll see a couple of errors. It's just a learning process. So if I do a switch port mode trunk, I get an error message. An interface whose trunk encapsulation is auto cannot be configured to trunk mode. So we have to change that. Switch port trunk, and what is the command? Encapsulation question mark it, and right now it's on negotiate, so we have two options, .1Q or ISL. Now ISL is Cisco proprietary. It was famous back in the day, but I don't think it's any longer in use. Actually, if you go to an environment where they haven't upgraded or they have old equipment, then you'll see ISL, and it's here because it wants to be backward compatible. But for anything else, we use .1Q, especially if you're using Cisco and different switches. So let's say you're using an HP switch, then you have to use .1Q. So there we go. And now let's type up, and we'll no shut it as well. So we have switch. Let's look at the configuration. Show run interface G33. And there we go. Encapsulation .1Q and switch port mode trunk. And now we have to go over to switch 1 and configure that one as well. Interface G33, switch port mode trunk. And what's going to happen here if I hit enter? Error message. An interface whose trunk encapsulation is auto cannot be configured to trunk. So let's change that. Switch port mode trunk. What are my options? The encapsulation .1Q. Any other options? No. Up arrow, switch port mode trunk, no shut, and we should be good to go. Show run interface G33. I can't type today. Okay, so if we do a show VLAN, we see VLAN 10 is still configured on G00 and G01. G01 because in the previous video we had PC2 on that. On switch 1, interface G01, but we're only using G00, and you see it's still VLAN 10. So that's configured. What about switch 2? Did we do the VLAN show run interface G00? Okay, that's already on VLAN 10. So can we ping across? Yes, we could. And that's because we need that VLAN here. That VLAN information. PC2 pings up, gets encapsulated in that VLAN 10, and it goes across. And the switch knows what to do with it, because by default, all VLANs are set up on the trunk. So when you configure a brand new trunk, VLAN 10, all VLANs will be on this trunk. Let's go over to switch 2. And this is switch 1, this is switch 2. Get confusing, I didn't set the host name. Let's do that. Switch 2. So switch 2 is there. And let's play around a little bit with G33. Okay, if we look at it, we look at the config, and we're just thinking, what will this do for me? But please take a moment first and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that I can continue to provide with you this training. And in a future video, we will go deeper and deeper into trunking protocols and pruning. So here we have interface G33, and if we go to switch port trunk, we can specify which VLANs we want to allow. Like I said, by default, all VLANs are allowed. So in effect, the switch has this configuration on it. It's just not displayed. If you do a show running interface G33, you will not see that. Okay. But we can specify the VLANs that we want. So we'll put 10. Okay. No sense sending other VLANs if they're not even configured here. Can we ping across? Yes, we can. And if we do a show MAC address table, we could see that it finds which port it needs to go out of. So if we look at PC2 and we do a show interface G00, we'll see the MAC address is right here. Ends in 40, 01FD, 4 zeros. 01FD, 4 zeros. What is the MAC of PC1? Show interface G00. And here is the MAC address. This one right here. Okay. What do we see here? C54D is what we see on this interface. So since we're on switch 2, it knows that in order to get to this MAC address, use this port. Which port is that? That's this port, the trunk port. Very intelligent. Now let's say that we remove VLAN 10, but let's say we do a switch port trunk allow VLAN 20. What happens? We're allowing 10. Now we're going to allow 20. What happens there? Let's take a look at the configuration. Now it says switch port trunk allow VLAN 20. So what does that mean for us? Will we still be able to ping across? And the answer is no, because we effectively removed VLAN 10. When you put this command in here like this, switch port trunk allowed VLAN 20, you're basically saying only allow VLAN 20. That's the key. If you wanted to allow 10 and 20, you could do it that way. Switch port trunk, and now we do a show run, and you see switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10 and 20. And in the future, we'll talk more about trunking, about pruning, and many more topics. This was just another, making it a little bit more complex for you. Now, can we ping across? Let's take a look at this. Will it ping across? Seems like it's not. Will it? There we go. Just takes a little bit of time sometimes when you change the configuration on it. Well, that is the end of this video. Thank you for joining me. I will make another video with more details on trunking. Have a good one.